Hello, everybody. You know, I'm making this video because I want to do the breakdown and the calculations of the hazard pay. And I've done this video before, and I want to do it again because the Democrats have finally announced that they're going to start acknowledging that essential employees do deserve hazard pay. The problem is that if you do the math, you're going to realize that if you're on unemployment, if you're on unemployment with the CARES Act, you're still making more financially than being an essential employee, even with the $10,000 in hazard pay. And the thing about the hazard pay is that, let me explain how it works, okay? So they give you $13 an hour, and this is retroactively paid per hour since January 27th. The problem is that this caps at $10,000, okay? So a lot of essential employees, whether you are part-time, full-time, casual, whatever, you're going to be eligible for that $13 additional per hour that you worked. The thing is that a lot of essential employees have been working more than ever during this time, right? A lot of essential employees have been working 40, 50, 60 hours a week because, one, your employer cannot compete with the unemployment benefits, right? So because of that, they're having a problem hiring new people to, distribute the hours amongst. The second problem is that nobody wants to return back to work because they make more money and they have free time and they don't have to risk their health during this global pandemic. So the problem with this is that if you had a choice between being unemployed, receiving $600 a week, and then receiving an additional 50%, 60, 70% of your weekly wage, if you had a choice between making the $600 from the CARES Act with an additional bonus, with the additional 50% of your weekly paycheck, on average, let's just say you work, I don't know, let's just say you make $500, $600, $700, $800 a week, okay? You're still making more on a flat rate from the CARES Act than majority of essential employees, okay? Because if you do the math, it's very simple to find this. But, the problem is that, for essential employees who've been working this whole time, if you actually calculate the amount of hours and then you multiply it by the $13, it would have already, the hazard pay of 10,000 that caps at 10,000 would have already capped by late May or early June. So that means from June, and today is August 1st, you would be working but not receiving hazard pay, and then moving forward, you still want to receive hazard pay. So for the past 2 months, and then moving forward from August 1st, you wouldn't be receiving hazard pay. So that means, you're still an essential employee, but you're not receiving hazard pay. So what's the point of capping the 10,000? Okay, what's the point of capping the 10,000? People say that the government can't afford it. Well, the government's taking our money to pay for it. They're taking money from other countries, and we're just getting more and more in debt. And we're just going to keep printing money. So the government can afford it technically. It's just, not enough people are calling out this bullshit. But it's blatantly obvious if you do the math that it's just more financially beneficial. You'll have more free time on unemployment as well. And then you won't have to risk your health. Because if you're on unemployment, right, and you're making anywhere from 600 flat rate, right? So you're making anywhere from 800 to 1,248 or more. You could do all these things with the free time. You could work under the table for cash. You can money launder, like a lot of people in my state are doing. You could party at the beach, like in my state people are doing, partying at the beach, barbecuing, having a pool party, playing tons of video games. Or you can gamble in the stock market. That's why a lot of Robinhood traders have gone up. You can also use a lot of your money to better yourself, focus on your business, focus on your schooling, focus on your skills that transition in the future. You can do all these things if you're on unemployment. So you can make a flat rate of 600 from the CARES Act with an additional 50% of your paycheck, have more free time than ever, and not have to risk your health doing whatever you want. You can go on vacation, you can travel, you do whatever you want. So you can do all these amazing things when you're on unemployment, making so much money, more than those who are working, even with this hazard pay. Or you could be an essential employee, get 10,000 that caps at, get the hazard pay that caps at 10,000, and then not get hazard pay. Okay, so for a lot of you here, I've been working since the very beginning of the COVID-19, right? So again, even if we do receive this 10,000 in hazard pay, it's already capped out at June if you work an average of 40 hours per week. If you've worked more than 40 hours a week, it's probably capped out in, I don't know, like late April, early May. But, for those of you who have worked 40 hours a week, it's already capped at late May, early June. Okay? And we can, I could do the math, but, I've already had previous videos where I break down the math, so I won't do it in this one. But you can see it, you can see that essential employees have still been screwed over. So let's just pretend that, the Congress actually does issue this hazard pay of $10,000. If they issue the $10,000 in hazard pay, I'm not a very smart guy. I'm not a very bright guy. But I did the math, and, even before doing the math, you can just guesstimate the monetary gains that you could be from an essential employee. And it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't seem beneficial. So how do I feel as an essential employee? I feel screwed over. I feel shafted. I feel taken for granted. I feel like the government is just throwing us a little bit of they're just throwing a number at us and saying like, hey, is this enough to make you quiet up and not complain about not receiving hazard pay? Well, I don't think that essential employees should essential employees should not settle for this, okay? Essential employees should not settle for this, because if you do the math, if you times 40 hours per week since January 27th till now, you would have already gone past the $10,000 in hazard pay. So every other hour you've worked after that 10,000, you're not receiving hazard pay. And also, if you do the math, calculating those on unemployment, okay? If you did the math about how much you would make on unemployment, you would still make more, even if you're only making, if you were making $400 a week prior to the COVID-19, and then you got the unemployment benefits. If you're making $200 from 50% of your wages, and then you're making $600, that's $800. Okay, and I'm not doing the taxes on this. I'm not considering taxes, but even if you did, it's still the same thing. You just have to do the tax deductions. Okay, so even if you were to do it right, you're making $800 a week before taxes. Okay, you're still making more before taxes and after taxes on unemployment than being an essential employee. So, as I've also claimed before, they're going to extend the unemployment, right? There's just no way that they're going to let millions and millions of people starve. Well, look, they did it. They extended the unemployment. So, what's the point of going back to work? There's still no point to going back to work because you have more free time than ever. You're still making more in unemployment, and you're still not having to risk your health working for a bunch of ungrateful people who don't care about you if you're on unemployment. So, look, this 4-month vacation has just been extended for those on unemployment. I told you it would be extended. I told you. And a lot of expert economists have been calling this out too, but it's so obvious, right? Anybody who has a brain can realize that, yeah, are they just going to, they shut down tons of jobs. Are they just going to cancel the unemployment? No. So essential employees have been screwed over once again. Do the math. Do the math. Essential employees do not settle for this bullshit. It's bullshit. Like, if you do the math, you would still make more off unemployment. You would still make more off unemployment than being an essential employee, even if the hazard pay wasn't capped. But it's capped, which is even worse. Listen, I have a proposal. If you really want to make essential employees feel compensated, and not just like a thanks, this 10,000 isn't good enough. It still isn't. The point of working is to feel incentivized to work. There's no incentive to work if you're making less than those on unemployment. You're not supposed to make more on unemployment. Because then there's no point in working if you're making more on unemployment. Does that make sense? So if when they extend the CARES Act to $600, by then the hazard pay of $10,000 has already been capped. So what if they only extend the unemployment for like 2 or 3 more months? Okay. Oh shucks, my phone got locked. So if they end up extending if they end up stopping the unemployment for the next 2 months, right? Well, then people after the next 2 months are just going to go find a job and then collect all that money they made from unemployment, have a 6-month vacation, and then they're going to go back to work and then make the additional hazard pay. But all the essential employees hazard pay already capped 2 months ago. Listen, so please, if you're watching this, do the math. Do the math, guys, because this is not right. It's not fair. This doesn't fix the problem. The essential employees are going to catch on. You're settling. If you take this offer of $10,000, you are settling. You are not taking your worth. You are settling. And if you think it's okay to settle, well, how many other times are you going to settle in your life? How many times in your life have you settled? Since the day you were born until who you are today, how many times have you settled? You settled for things when you could have had more. You settled for things when you deserved more. Don't settle for this. Do something about it. Do the math. Calculate the difference. What you would have made on unemployment with the CARES Act. What you would make an essential employee that caps at $10,000. Do the math. Do the research. Spread the word. And don't settle. Do not settle for this. You're an essential employee. You're risking your health. You're working harder than ever. No one cares about you. The government has put you on the back burner. The people who come into your store, your restaurants, your grocery store, whether you work in manufacturing, utilities, police, law enforcement, health, nurse, whatever you are, doctor, people have taken you for granted. Teachers taken for granted. The government doesn't appreciate you. Those on unemployment don't appreciate you. And all the people you are serving during this time of a global pandemic do not care about you. The only people who truly care about you are other essential employees who can truly empathize with you. So do not settle for this, because you've probably settled for a lot of things in your life. I know I have, and I'm not settling for this. We deserve more. So with that being said, I hope all you essential employees take care. I know you're working harder than ever. And I see it. I see it at the grocery store when I go to the grocery store. I see it when I go to the store. I see it at the restaurants when I have to go pick up my lunch. I see how people are. They're rude, I see how essential employees are treated. Someone doesn't want to wear their mask for whatever reason they have. And they're just doing their job, so they ask politely, please put your mask on. And they get berated. So all you grocery clerks out there who have been berated all your lives and looked down upon because society deems your job unworthy, whatever. I used to work in a grocery store. I used to work in retail too. And you can't convince me now that people suddenly care. So do not settle for this $10,000. You deserve more. You are risking your life. You are literally essential. All these jobs that are no longer here are not really essential, huh? I guess they're just deemed high by society because whatever society said. But you guys are the real hero. Do not settle for this. You deserve more than $10,000. Do the math. You would have made way more on unemployment. And imagine if you were on a 4-month employment and they're extending it, so it's going to be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1 year. Who knows how long they're going to extend the CARES Act. You can be making way more money on unemployment. You could be using all this free time to better yourself for skills. You can go back to school. You can use all this time to spend time with your family, work on your mental health, work on skills that transition into the future. So you can, increase your earning wages. You could better your life with all this free time. These things are game changing. If you talk, my friends who are on unemployment right now, who are engineers, they understand this is a game changing moment for them because now they have more money and time to focus on their career and their side businesses. So do not settle for this. $10,000 is not enough.